Work, work, and work. I wanna see you work. I'm in there, work. I was so ride that, pick it up, throw that, drop that shit. Straight go back and forth with I'm too pretty, gotta stop that. I'm lit. How Casamigos, my purity white.
Baby, let me tell you something. I can't leave you alone. Big man, mother. I'm never gonna leave you alone. We stuck together. You my best friend, you my best friend.
This is 32-year-old Jacqueline Wilson, a devoted mother of 4 from Houston, Texas, who did everything she could to keep peace in her family. But everything changed after her man left prison and killed her immediately. On the morning of October 3, 2024, police responded to a 911 call that led them to an apartment at Willow Green Apartments in Northwest Houston. Inside, they found Jacqueline collapsed on the floor and brutally shot dead. Just minutes earlier, surveillance cameras had captured her man, 39-year-old Howard Devin Ruffen, walking calmly into her apartment only seconds before the gunfire erupted. Moments after he stepped inside, neighbors heard shouting, then multiple gunshots, and finally, the terrified screams of Jacqueline's 2 young children as they ran out of the apartment searching for help. So what really happened that led to this brutal killing? To understand that, we have to go back to the very beginning. This is the tragic life and death of Jacqueline Wilson. Jacqueline was born on January 16, 1992 in Houston, Texas, to her mother Denise Bibbs, who welcomed her with deep love and devotion. From the very beginning, Denise held her daughter close, raising her in the busy streets and warm neighborhoods of Houston.
The streets are calling my name. I'm going to the streets. Get some more. I'm going to the streets. The streets are calling my name. I'm going to the streets. The streets are calling my name. I'm going to the streets.
Long before Jacqueline became a mother herself, she was simply Jackie, a bright, affectionate young woman who grew up deeply rooted in her community. She went to Westbury High School, where she made lasting friendships and earned a reputation for her cheerful nature. As an adult, Jackie remained a source of comfort for the people around her. She had a habit of checking in on friends, encouraging them when they felt overwhelmed, and offering gentle honesty when the situation called for it. To Denise, her mother, Jackie was more than a daughter. She was a partner in life's challenges, a confidant, and a constant source of joy. Their relationship reflected years of emotional closeness and shared resilience. Denise often said that Jackie didn't just brighten rooms, she carried a light within her that made others feel safe. It was a gift Jackie shared generously. And it was the same light that guided her when she stepped into the role she cherished most: motherhood. Jackie became a mother to 4 children: Lance, Aaliyah, Jordan, and Cash, and everything in her world began to revolve around them. On the outside, she was only 32, but the maturity and devotion she poured into raising her kids made her seem far beyond her years. She structured her entire life around giving her children stability, love, and opportunities she wanted them to have. She was a great mother, in short, But behind that facade was a woman carrying more responsibility than most people realized. It's unclear whether the children's father was consistently involved in their lives, but Jacqueline rarely waited for anyone else to step in. She worked hard to provide for her children in every way she could, often stretching her energy and resources just to make sure they had what they needed. Even when life felt heavy, she moved forward for them. Her resilience became the backbone of the home she created. But while Jackie carried her family with strength, life soon brought someone into her world who would change her path in ways no one expected. Somewhere in 2019, Jackie would meet a 39-year-old man who went by the name Hollywood. But the real name of this man was Howard Devin Ruffen.
Don't tell me that you love me when you really don't. Don't feel that you gon' ride when you really won't. I wanna hug. That shit on. I really don't. I love the love, but I know love, that's why my feelings gone. Don't say that I can count when I really can't. Don't say that you be down when you really ain't. You got that's one of my private shit, I'm on a thing. Your mouth said it, but your heart never felt the same. Nah. Man, I said, tell me where we living this shit, I'm just speaking fact. They're the wrong people, my love, and I wish that I can give it back. I'm the real, just to get you hurt, love, get you killed. It seems like love is the new hate, and look, fake is the new real. Suffocated by betrayal, don't know appetite to talk. I don't vent to people no more, cause when they get mad, all they do is talk.
On the outside, Howard was a man you would not think was dangerous. He was confident, smooth, charming, and charismatic in a way that captured attention effortlessly. He made her laugh, made her feel noticed, and offered a kind of companionship that seemed refreshing at first. Jackie, who loved deeply and worked hard for her family, welcomed the chance to experience connection again. With Howard, she hoped she had found someone she could build with. But as time passed, things began to shift in ways she couldn't ignore. Jackie started noticing changes in Howard that she couldn't ignore anymore.
Smoke this morning?
Don't bother me.
Did you smoke this morning?
Me?
Yeah.
Nah.
No? Because Gary, Baba Booey, you know, he thought you smelled like
Me? Nah, I don't
Things
smoke.
that once felt
Diving.
happy or easy slowly turned into moments that made her nervous. The relationship that once seemed loving began to feel different and not in a good way. But those changes were only the beginning of what she was about to face. And soon, the truth about their dynamic started rising to the surface. Jackie soon learned things about Howard that he hadn't shared before. At first, she didn't know about his past or the problems he'd caused in other relationships.
Howard Ruffen has a lengthy criminal history.
Multiple convictions for aggravated assault, all involving dating relationships.
In 2022, Ruffen was charged with assaulting Jacqueline, but he wasn't arrested on the felony charge.
But over time, tiny red flags turned into obvious warning signs. His temper got worse, he became more controlling, and the safe feeling she once had around him began to fade. And the more she learned, the more it affected her life. Howard had a history of domestic violence, something Jackie didn't fully know when they first met. Records from Walker County, Texas showed that Howard had already been convicted of hurting a family member before he ever met Jackie. He only spent 3 days in jail, even though the charge was serious. After he got out, the violence continued, and Jackie became the one dealing with it. And as she slowly realized this, the stress in the relationship grew. She tried to keep the peace while still hoping things might improve, but nothing changed. Soon it became clear that the situation was turning dangerous. By 2021, Jackie quietly told loved ones that something wasn't right. Her family had already noticed signs: his jealousy, his angry outbursts, and the way he made her feel alone even when he was right beside her. These moments left Jackie scared and unsure of what to do.
My daughter has never been in a relationship that bad before.
Before long, the tension between them exploded in a terrifying way. On the October 15th, 2022, Jackie and Howard were in the car when an argument broke out. It quickly got out of control. Howard hit her in the face several times. When she tried to protect herself, he started choking her. Terrified and desperate to survive, she opened the door and jumped out of the moving car. Shaken and hurt, she ran toward passing cars for help. Drivers stopped and called 911. When officers arrived, they saw the bruises and marks all over her body. Jackie explained what happened but turned down medical care. She also told the officers she didn't want to press charges. But during the ride home, she said something that worried them even more. She informed the police that she was in trouble, but didn't say anything else. One officer was so concerned that he asked for an emergency protective order for her, but it never went through. Meanwhile, Jackie's mother begged her to leave Howard. Neighbors also heard loud fights coming from the house.
The only one time that I heard him, and I want to say within the last week, is when he says, "Okay, I'm going to kill you."
Documents reveal Ruffen's faced multiple family assault charges. 3 years ago, Ruffen was convicted in Walker County for assaulting a family member. 2 years ago, he was charged in Harris County for hitting and strangling Wilson.
And friends were scared for her safety. And just as it seemed like help might finally arrive, the system failed her again. On May 23, 2023, Howard was arrested on a warrant tied to his assault on Jackie. He was caught in Maverick County near the Texas-Mexico border. Her family hoped this would finally protect her. But that hope didn't last long, because on September 25, 2024, Howard went to court in Harris County. Officials knew he had a violent history.
Man, I had to come eat that shit, man. That shit's so good, boy. Man, you gotta come forward with these hoes, man. These hoes, this is the truth, man. God, these hoes the truth. Real truth, man. Ooh, nigga, fat full now. I'm gonna pour that cup up, baby. Pour that cup up and put that shit on, man.
They knew he was a danger, yet the court still allowed him to stay free using the same $7,500 bond he had already paid in Maverick County. Her family was heartbroken. They felt like no one cared enough to keep her safe. And the worst part was still ahead. Because of poor communication between the two counties, Harris County later said they never received all the details about Howard's violent past or the special rules tied to his bond. And that one gap in communication opened the door to something irreversible.
Howard Ruffen has a lengthy criminal history.
Multiple convictions for aggravated assault, all involving dating relationships.
In 2022, Ruffen was charged with assaulting Jacqueline, but he wasn't arrested on the felony charge.
23, late April, he gets stopped in South Texas, Maverick County, because there's a warrant out for his arrest for the felony charge.
Ruffen posts a $7,500 bond in Maverick County. 16 months pass. Harris County has no idea Ruffen was even out on bond.
Where was he during that time? Who was supervising him? Who was making sure he was following the conditions of his bond? And what were the conditions of his bond?
September 25th, Ruffen appears in the 180th, Judge Deshaun Jones. He remains on the $7,500 bond he posted in Maverick County and walks out of jail on September 30th.
Because instead of finally being safe, Jacqueline was put right back in danger, face to face with someone who had already shown he could seriously hurt her. By this time, Jacqueline had reached the point where she couldn't take any more. By September 2024, she made a brave decision. She was leaving Howard for good. After years of surviving abuse, she finally chose herself and her children. So on the same day he was released, neighbors saw her tossing his things out of their apartment. It was her way of saying she was done. But she had no idea that this act of courage would push Howard towards something far worse. On the morning of October 3, 2024, not long after Howard was released, he did something nothing short of chilling. That day at 8 a.m., he entered Jacqueline's home at the Willow Green Apartments in Northwest Houston. But he did not consider one thing. Around Jacqueline's house were surveillance cameras, and one of them recorded him entering Jacqueline's home. Within seconds, everything began to spiral. People nearby heard voices from inside the apartment. It sounded like Jacqueline and Howard were arguing. Jackie could be heard repeating, "Go ahead," reacting to something he said. But almost immediately, the argument turned deadly. In a matter of seconds, several gunshots rang through the apartment, followed by Jacqueline's terrified screams. And what the cameras captured next left the community horrified.
Wednesday morning, a doorbell camera shows a man enter an apartment. Seconds later, you hear shouting and 9 gunshots. Witnesses told ABC 13 the victim's 2 children were inside. They weren't hurt.
Right after shooting her, Howard walked out of the apartment calmly, as if nothing had happened. No fear, no panic, no hesitation. But the trauma inside the apartment didn't end there. 2 of Jacqueline's children, just 4 and 7 years old, were home when their mother was shot. After seeing their mom collapsed on the floor, they ran outside the apartment toward the bus stop to try to get help. At first, the adults who saw them had no idea what had just happened. Thankfully, 2 women who were passing by stopped to hear what the children have got to say. And after hearing the story, they could not believe it. They saw something unthinkable. The women rushed toward Jacqueline's apartment. When they stepped inside, they found 32-year-old Jacqueline Wilson lying on the floor with multiple gunshot wounds. One woman immediately dialed 911, hoping help would arrive in time. But even with their quick action, the outcome didn't change. By the time medical responders made it to the scene, Jacqueline had already died from her injuries. Her life ended in the same home where she worked so hard to protect her children every single day. Soon after, her mother received a call that would change her life forever. And this was her reaction.
I said, "Did Howard Ruffen kill my daughter?"
There wasn't any doubt in your mind that Howard was involved.
No doubt in my mind.
What made you so sure?
Because my daughter has never been in a relationship that bad before.
A 20-year-old mother of 4 was murdered allegedly by her 39-year-old boyfriend, and her mother blames a Harris County judge.
The investigation immediately started, and what they found as they started digging was unsettling. Not long after the crime, a neighbor came forward and gave them something that they have witnessed before everything happened.
The only one time that I heard him, and I want to say within the last week, is when he says, "Okay, I'm going to kill you."
She asked us to conceal her identity, terrified the shooter would return.
Once detectives heard this, the timeline of the events began to feel even heavier. Not long after the murder, Howard came in to talk to the detectives and turned himself in. And right then and there, the Harris County District Attorney's Office filed a felony murder charge right away. He was taken into custody at the county jail where he remains behind bars. No bond was given this time. As of now, there is still no update on the case, but if Howard is proven guilty, he'd receive a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. The charge recognizes the irreversible pain he caused Jacqueline, her children, and everyone who cared about her. And for Denise, the fight for justice became deeply personal. Not long after the shooting, she spoke about her heartbreak and frustration. Through her grief, she explained that she believed her daughter's death didn't have to happen.
This could have been prevented. I could have still had my daughter. Their kids could have still had their mother.
I shouldn't be sitting here right now. Jacqueline should be here.
Yes. Yes.
She felt strongly that the judge in Harris County had made a dangerous mistake by letting Howard stay out on such a low bond, even though his violent past was well documented. And she wasn't the only one who felt that way. Because as news spread, Howard's history, including multiple aggravated assault cases, became the focus again.
You know, Howard Ruffen has multiple convictions for domestic violence, but that didn't stop the 180th from granting him a $7,500 bond for allegedly assaulting a woman he's now accused of killing.
Community members, news outlets, and advocates for domestic violence victims openly criticized the legal system for allowing a man with such a violent record to remain free.
time, who was supervising him, who was making sure he was following the conditions of his bond, and what were the conditions of his bond.
Now, Jacqueline's family is facing the grief and aftermath of her death. To aid their coping, the family created a GoFundMe to support her 4 children, who now face a world forever changed by what they witnessed. Janice and her husband have taken on the responsibility of caring for them, offering as much stability and comfort as possible while they process the trauma of losing their mother in such a violent way. And the community stepped in right beside them. Friends, relatives, and neighbors contributed to the fundraiser, hoping to lighten the financial and emotional weight now placed on the family. The goal is to help provide the 4 children with the love, resources, and support Jacqueline always wanted them to have. Her absence is felt deeply, especially by her kids, whose lives will never be the same. And her story leaves behind a painful lesson. Jacqueline Wilson's death shows what can happen when warnings are overlooked and the justice system fails to protect victims. Even with a clear pattern of abuse, the system allowed a dangerous man to remain free until the consequences became tragic and irreversible.